Alex sat on the edge of his bunk, the soft glow of his tablet screen casting a pale light across the quiet cabin. The walls, made of cold metal panels, felt too close. He tapped the message icon again, but the chat remained empty. Mia's name still sat in his contacts, but her recent replies were missing. 2 weeks had passed since she left for the Vesta colony, and every hour felt like a small ache inside him.
Ow.
He closed his eyes, breathing in the cool night air. His chest felt hollow, as if a part of him had flown away with her. He remembered the days when they grew up together under the old oak tree in their hometown. They built small model rockets and dreamed of exploring the stars. Mia's laughter used to fill the air as they raced down sunlit hills. They shared stories, hopes, and secrets. Alex had always felt safe beside her. Her hands often found each. Others when fear whispered in the dark. Now those hills lay empty without her, and the oak tree felt lonely. A single memory of her warm smile made his heart tighten. After her departure, they had agreed to video calls on the first day of each month. The first call had been joyful, but brief, cut short by a weak connection. Since then, technical glitches stole their words. Mia's screen froze mid-sentence. Her voice fell silent. Alex tried to bridge the gap with voice messages and quick texts. He wrote long paragraphs explaining his day, the jokes he missed sharing, but his messages sat unread. He watched the delivered sign with longing, then with doubt. He wondered if she felt the same distance, or if she had simply moved. On one evening, Alex decided to write a letter the old way. He found thick paper and a pen with smooth black ink. He wrote slowly, carving each word with care. He spoke of their memories of his days in the workshop, and of the empty bunk that waited for her visits. His heart guided each sentence. He folded the paper, placed it in an envelope, and sealed it with a hopeful heart. The letter found a spot on his desk next to a faded photo of them under the oak tree. He stared at it, unsure if it would ever reach her. Doubt nudged at him. Did messages matter when time and space pressed on? The next morning, Alex walked to the school's makerspace. He believed that humanity's finest trait was the courage to try again and again. He gathered metal parts, wires, and a small quantum communicator salvaged from a broken research drone. He sketched a plan on paper, a device that could send a short message directly to Vesta with a personal signature. Embedded in its signal, it would carry a voice clip, and the letter he wrote his deepest thoughts and hopes. If normal channels failed, this device would cut through the static between worlds. For days, Alex worked by lamplight. He soldered fragile circuits, tested power modules, and wrote simple code to guide the transmitter. Each time the device failed, he smiled and started over. His hands grew tired, but his mind stayed sharp with hope. He remembered lessons from human history. People had built great ships to cross oceans, climbed mountains to see the sun from new heights, and grown gardens in deserts. If humans could do that, he could rebuild a connection across the stars for Mia. He whispered to himself that distance was only a test of the heart. By the 7th night, the device stood complete on his workbench. It was small, no, larger than a bookhand. It glowed softly with blue light. Alex placed the folded letter inside its data chamber and spoke a short voice message. Mia, it's Alex. I miss you. Please talk to me. He pressed the final button. A soft hum rose as the machine unlocked its quantum relay. In his heart, he felt a pulse of quiet strength. He believed that a human's will could outshine any distance. Alex leaned back in his chair and watched the device hum into silence. He closed his eyes and thought of Mia's smile. He pictured her reading the letter under a pale colony moon and hearing his voice in her mind. He did not know if the message would arrive quickly or if she would answer at all. Yet he felt a spark of hope kindle in his chest. He would wait, and when she answered, he would be ready to listen. Soon, he told himself, soon she would feel. His quiet strength on the other side of the stars, Alex woke before dawn, the pale light of his bedside lamp still glowing. He checked the quantum communicator on his desk. Its blue glow was steady and calm, but there was no reply. He felt a heavy ache in his chest, as if a small star inside him had gone out. Remembered how warm Mia's voice sounded when they spoke under the old oak tree. Now the space between them felt as wide as the galaxy itself. Yet even in that aching quiet, Alex's heart held a spark. He would not give up. He believed that human hope could bridge any distance. He dressed quickly and walked down to the campus communications hub. The hall was empty except for a few late workers. The hum of servers filled the air like a soft heartbeat. Alex approached the chief technician, Mara, a kind woman with curious eyes. She listened as he explained his device and his wish to reach Vesta. Mara shook her head gently. "Our network is overloaded," she said, "but maybe we can help." She guided him to an array of spare parts that no one else had claimed. Alex's heart lifted. Human kindness still shone bright here. In the following days, Alex invited his classmates to join him. He told them about Mia and how he felt lost without her. His friends, engineers, coders, and artists gathered in the makerspace after classes. Each brought something small. Coil of wire, a lens, an old antenna. They worked side by side under the flickering workshop lights. There was laughter when circuits sparked at the wrong moment, and gentle encouragement when a design failed. Alex watched them and felt proud. Their faith in his dream warmed him more than any reactor core could. Together, they built a larger transmitter. It was nothing like the slick corporate machines. It had uneven edges and exposed wiring, but it pulsed with something far stronger than polished steel. It held their belief in connection. At night, they tested the signal, sending short bursts toward Vesta's coordinates. Each attempt brought hope and frustration in equal measure. Even when the relay showed no sign of life, they cleaned solder joints and rewrote code until their fingers were sore. Every time the device powered on, it reminded Alex of the human spirit. We try and try again. One evening, as the pale moon rose over the workshop window, something changed. Alex sat alone at the workbench, adjusting the transmitter's frequency. He pressed the send button and closed his eyes. He heard a faint click in the speaker. Heart thundered in his ears. He pressed play again. The click came a second time, soft but clear. A simple reply. It was not a full message, not yet, but it was enough. Alex's breath caught. He ran to tell his friends. They gathered around and listened. Each small click felt like a promise. He spent the rest of the night recording the sound and tuning the device. Alex captured the clicks in his notebook. ... Had a pattern of life reaching for life. He imagined Mia hearing those clicks and smiling as she tried to recognize his signal. He imagined her racing to her console on Vesta, filled with the same hope. The workshop buzzed with quiet excitement. His friends sat with him, faces shining. They shared stories of people who found hope in the darkest times. Alex felt proud to be human. When the first pale light of morning filtered through the window, Alex stepped outside. The campus gardens were bright with dew. He looked up at the stars, each one a distant sun. Somewhere among them was MIA. He pressed the small recorder too. His heart-in spoke softly, "I hear you. I'm here." His voice trembled, but he held it steady. He believed that one day soon, she would answer with words. His hope burned like a beacon, guiding him forward. Day Alex returned to his bunk with a calm smile. He placed the transmitter on his desk and lay down to sleep. He dreamed of Mia's laugh and the sound of her voice flowing through the speakers. He knew the path ahead would test his patience, but his spirit felt strong. He had reached across the stars once. He could do it again. And when Mia finally spoke, their bond would be brighter than any star. His quiet strength, his HFY would carry them through the silence. Alex woke before sunrise, his heart racing. The small transmitter on his desk pulsed with soft blue light. Last night's test had given him a gift, a short pattern of clicks, too regular to be random. He felt a spark of hope. After weeks of silence, he thought he might finally hear from Mia. He dressed quietly and carried the device down to the campus lab. The lab was cold and bright, full of humming machines. His friend Jamal was there, bent over a tangle of wires. Jamal looked up and smiled when he saw Alex. "Did you get anything?" he asked. Alex nodded and placed the transmitter on a metal table. I connected its output to a speaker and watched. The waveform on a small screen. The clicks formed a simple rhythm. Alex's pulse quickened. He and Jamal shared a look of eager excitement. They spent the morning testing different settings. They adjusted the gain, changed the antenna angle, and reloaded code that separated signal from noise. Every tweak brought clearer clicks. They saw a repeating pattern. Short click, long pause. Short click, long pause. Jamal raised an eyebrow. "It looks like Morse code," he said softly. Alex felt a thrill. Morse code was old, but it was a code both sides could use. He opened a notebook and began to write. They listened in silence as the pattern repeated again and again. Alex wrote dots and dashes beside each click. He worked without hurry, careful not to miss a signal. After 10 repetitions, he stepped back and read his notes. Dot dash, dot dash, dot dash. 3 times in a row, he looked at Jamal. "Dot it spells A," Alex said, voice trembling. They counted more clicks. Next came dot dot dot, which spelled H. Little by little, the letters came S-E low. Alex's chest tightened. He stared at the paper. The first word he had received from Mia was here, spelled out in simple code, "Hello." Tears pricked at Alex's eyes. He pressed a hand to his mouth and took a deep breath. After so many nights of silence, he heard her voice in those clicks. His friends gathered around, their faces lit by the glow of the screen. They cheered quietly, careful not to wake other students. Alex felt pride swell in his chest. Human hope and teamwork had made this possible. He bowed his head and whispered, "Thank you." Alex spent the afternoon crafting a reply. He recorded a short voice message. "Mia, it's Alex. I hear you. I'm here." He loaded the message into the transmitter's memory and wrote out a second paper letter. This time, he sketched the old oak tree where they had spent so many afternoons. He wrote about the sunset, painting its leaves orange, and how he wished she could see it. He folded the letter, placed it in the device, and sealed it with a smile, full of hope. As evening fell, Alex stood on the roof of the lab building. The campus lights glimmered below and stars shone above. He turned the transmitter on and aimed the antenna toward Vesta's star system. He held his breath and pressed send. Blue light flashed once, then twice. He imagined the message riding a beam of quantum particles across millions of kilometers. He pictured Mia at her console, listening with her heart. The night air was cool, but Alex felt a glow inside him. He walked back to his dorm room with slow steps. In his bunk, he placed the transmitter beside his bed and lay down. He closed his eyes and thought of Mia's clicks spelling hello. He listened for new signals, but none came immediately. He sighed, but his breath was light. He did not feel alone. He believed that soon Mia would answer again, their bond across. The stars had begun to mend that night. Alex dreamed of the two of them standing beneath the oak tree, laughter echoing through golden leaves. He woke at dawn with a steady resolve. Distance might stretch across worlds, but human strength and hope could bridge any gap. He rose and walked to the lab once more, ready to listen, ready to send, ready to prove that even across space, a human heart never gives up. Alex woke before sunrise, his heart heavy but hopeful. He carried the small recorder and transmitter into the empty makerspace. The blue glow of the device seemed brighter than ever. He pressed play, but only silence answered. He pressed send, but no clicks returned. His chest ached with missing her voice, yet he refused to quit. He remembered how people had crossed oceans and deserts long ago to find one another. He believed in that same human courage now. In that quiet workshop, he took a deep breath and vowed to find another way to reach Mia. He called his friends. Back to the lab at noon. They gathered around soldering irons, code sheets, and spare parts. Alex told them he wanted to send something more than clicks. He imagined Mia seeing moving images of home. His classmates smiled when he spoke. Knew that small acts of creativity could lift a lonely heart. An artist named Sunita sketched pictures of the oak tree under golden light. A programmer named Omar wrote software to compress images into simple data bursts. A mechanic named Leanne modified the antenna to carry a basic video signal. By afternoon, the team had built a new module. It could send short video frames alongside sound and text. The device looked rough, wires snaking around its metal frame, yet it held their shared belief in connection. Alex recorded a tiny video. He stood beneath the oak tree, its leaves glowing in sunset. He spoke into the camera. "Mia, this is home. We miss you." He and his friends tested the module, watching the frame skip on a small screen. They laughed each time the image stuttered and fell apart. Each glitch felt like a promise to keep trying. Late that evening, Alex climbed to the roof of the makerspace. The sky was clear and full of stars. He aimed the new antenna toward the Vesta system. He steadied his hand as he pressed the send button. A soft hum filled the night air. On the table beside him, the recorder glowed with hope. He imagined Mia under her colony's pale sky, catching each frame as it arrived. He imagined her smiling at the flicker of green leaves, hearing his voice across the void. He knew the message would take time, but he felt its warmth on his skin. When he returned to his bunk, Alex found a new recording waiting in the devices. Memory. His hands trembled as he pressed play. A soft voice spoke, clear and full of surprise. "Alex, I see the tree. Feel the sun. Thank you." His chest tightened with joy. Then the screen lit up with her shaky image. She stood in a small room on Vesta, the red dust glowing outside. Her eyes were bright with tears. He leaned close and whispered into the speaker, "Mia, I'm here. We're here with you." Over the next hours, Alex and his friends decoded Mia's video reply. She showed them the small garden she tended on Vesta. She spoke of how lonely the colony felt without their homeworld. She described the strange stars at her window and asked Alex to send more stories of Earth. Alex's heart soared. He realized that hope could shine as brightly as any star. He and his friends gathered more sketches, more recordings, and more words to send back. Each message carried the message of human care. The next morning, Alex and the team set up a schedule. Every night at sunset, they would send fresh videos and letters. They would take turns recording new greetings. They would show Mia the seasons of Earth. In return, she would share Vesta's red skies and dusty plains. They built a simple routine across the stars. In the quiet early hours, Alex sat beneath the oak tree and spoke into the camera. "This is us today. We wait for you." His words floated upward, crossing space and doubt. That night, the device hummed and glowed. Alex pressed send and felt his heart beat in time with the signal. He lay down to sleep with a calm smile. He dreamed of the day when they would meet again in person. He believed in the human spirit's power to conquer distance. He knew that hope and quiet strength, HFY, had brought them this far. And he knew it would carry them ever closer until no amount of space could separate their hearts again. Alex sat under the oak tree, watching golden leaves fall slowly to the ground. The wind brushed against his face, gentle and cool. He held the small recording device in his hands, staring at its glowing screen. A quiet message blinked. No. Signal. It had been 4 days since Mia's last reply. His heart felt heavy again. After all their effort, after the videos, the letters, the laughter shared across the stars, it was hard to feel her silence. He pressed play on her last message. Voice filled the space around him. "Alex, I miss Earth so much. The gardens. Blooming. It reminds me of your stories. I'll try to send pictures soon." That was the last thing she said. Since then, only silence. Alex leaned his head back against the rough bark of the tree. He closed his eyes and remembered how she used to sit beside him, legs crossed, sketching the sky in her notebook. Used to talk about the future, how they would build something together. He thought he had felt her warmth, even across the stars. But now, the silence returned, and with it, doubt. "Maybe something's wrong on Vesta," he whispered. "Maybe she's too busy. Or maybe she just forgot." The thought hurt. Back in the campus workshop, the air buzzed with quiet activity. His friends still met every day. They worked on new upgrades, faster processors, clearer audio, longer signal range. But Alex struggled to join their smiles. Felt distant, not just from Mia, but from the people around him, Sunita noticed. She walked over, handing him a small mug of tea. "You're thinking too much again," she said softly. "Don't give up." "What if she doesn't reply?" he asked, voice low. "What if I reached her and now it's just over?" Sunita didn't answer right away. She sat beside him, looking out the window. "You know," she said, "my brother moved to Mars 3 years ago. We used to talk every day, then once a week, then once a month. It hurt. But one day he sent me a photo of a small tree he planted there. It had grown." Alex turned to her. "He didn't forget me," she said. "He just had to build a new life. But he never stopped caring." Alex nodded slowly. He looked down at the device in his hands. Even if Mia didn't reply today, even if silence stretched longer, it didn't mean the connection was gone. Humanity's strength, he reminded himself, wasn't just in building machines. It was in keeping faith even when nothing comes back. He stood up, heart a little lighter. "Let's send another message," he said. That evening, Alex recorded a new video. He sat under the oak tree, soft sunset light on his face. Behind him, the leaves rustled. "Hi, Mia," he said gently. "I don't know if you're hearing this. I hope you are. I miss our talks. I miss the way you laughed when we messed up soldering a board. I know things must be busy on Vesta, and that's okay. Just know that we're still here. I'm still here. The tree hasn't changed. It's waiting, just like me," he smiled. At the camera, a little sad, a little strong. "We humans. We don't stop hoping. That's our thing, isn't it? So I'll keep sending messages. Even if I don't hear back for a while, because I believe in this. In us." He sent the message that night, alone on the roof. He didn't expect a reply right away, just stood there under the stars, letting the wind brush his face. And 2 days later, the screen lit up. A short video played. It was Mia. She looked tired, but she was smiling. Behind her was a group of people building something new. Shelter walls, long solar panels, garden rows. "Hey, Alex," she said. "I'm so sorry. A storm knocked out half the comms on our side. We've been fixing everything non-stop. But I watched your last message, every word. I cried a little." "Okay. A lot." She laughed, wiping her eyes. "I didn't forget. Never. And when I saw your face again, I felt home." Alex sat down, heart full, laughed softly, wiping away a tear. She hadn't forgotten. But the silence had never meant goodbye. HFY, he thought. Humanity, for all its flaws, always reached out again, always waited, always believed. And in the quiet of the night, Alex whispered, "We're still connected, no matter how far." Alex stood in the campus greenhouse, gently watering a row of green sprouts. The air smelled like soil and sunlight. Round him, vines stretched toward the sky, curling around thin wires. It was peaceful, but it wasn't enough to ease the ache in his chest. Mia hadn't sent another message in over a week. After the storm on Vesta, she had sent one short video full of warmth and apology. But now, silence again. No clicks, no voice, no video. Just a blinking screen and the soft hum of a machine waiting for a reply. Alex sat on a bench, holding the small transmitter in his lap. He pressed the buttons again. Still nothing. He stared at the glass roof, where raindrops began to fall. It matched how he felt, quiet, slow, and a little cold inside. He missed her more than he thought he could. It wasn't just the calls or the laughter. It was knowing she was out there, listening, connected. Now that silence had returned, it made him feel lost. His friends tried to cheer him up. Jamal invited him to movie night. Sunita brought him warm tea and a new sketch of the oak tree. But Alex smiled only briefly, always returning to his thoughts of Mia. He wondered, what if? She can't reply? Or what if she doesn't want to anymore? But then he stopped himself. That wasn't the kind of thinking humanity had ever stood for. Humanity, he reminded himself, had crossed oceans not knowing what was on the other side. They had sent rovers to planets they'd never visit, built cities in deserts, and grown food on the moon. Why? because they never stopped believing. That night, Alex made a decision. If he couldn't hear Mia's voice, then maybe she could hear his. He gathered his friends in the workshop. They sat in a circle, the soft buzz of machines around them. "I want to do something different," Alex said. "I want to send her a story." "A story?" Jamal asked. "Yes," Alex replied. "A full story from Earth. About people who kept going, even when no one was listening." They all nodded. Together, they wrote a short story about a young boy who climbed a mountain to find a star that could speak. The star never answered, but the boy kept going. He planted flowers along the way, built bridges, helped travelers. And one day, when he reached the top, the star glowed softly, not with words but with light. Alex recorded the story with his voice, clear and calm. Sunita added drawings. Leon designed soft music in the background. It wasn't perfect, but it felt real. Honest. They loaded it into the transmitter and sent it into the stars. The next night, they sent a second story. This one was about a girl who couldn't see the moon from her city, so she built a telescope from spare parts and lenses and showed it to everyone around her. In the end, the whole city saw the stars together. Each night, Alex felt lighter. He still missed Mia, but sharing hope gave him strength. He didn't know if the messages were reaching her, but he knew this. If she could hear his voice, even just once, she would know she wasn't alone. A few days later, Alex returned to the greenhouse. He sat in silence, listening to the gentle drops of water from the irrigation system. Then his transmitter beeped. One new message? His hands shook. He pressed play. It was Mia's voice, tired, but full of emotion. "I heard the story," she whispered. "Both of them." I cried. "I played them for my whole team." We all sat in the dark and listened. "You reminded us why we're here. Why we came to Vesta in the first place. To bring light to new places." She paused, then laughed gently. "Thank you for not giving up. Even when I was quiet. You always believed." Alex closed his eyes, and tears ran down his cheeks. Whispered back, "We always believe. That's what it means to be human." HFY, quiet strength, endless hope, even across the stars. The night was quiet. The stars above the campus twinkled gently, like tiny lanterns. Alex stood on the rooftop again, holding the small transmitter in his hands. He looked up at the sky, knowing that one of those glowing dots was Vestutha, colony where Mia now lived. It had been a month since she moved. It had shared so many messages, videos, letters, even stories. Each one had brought a little joy, a little comfort. But for the past 10 days, there had been no reply. The screen stayed dark. No voice, no light, no sign. Alex's heart felt heavy again. The silence was like a slow echo, stretching longer and longer. He began to worry maybe the distance had grown too wide, maybe life on Vesta was too busy, or maybe she just didn't feel close to him anymore. He sat down beside the antenna, watching its steady glow. He thought about all the times he and Mia had sat beneath the oak tree back home. He remembered her laugh, her way of gently teasing him when he made mistakes with his tools. He missed her more than he could explain. Still, he didn't want to give up. Deep inside, he felt something that had always been there, quiet, stubborn hope. That hope was what made humans special. It was why they reached across stars, even when they didn't know what waited on the other side. The next morning, Alex visited the community garden near the science building. The plants there were lush and bright. He sat on a wooden bench and watched as students walked by, talking and smiling. Around him, life kept moving, even when things felt uncertain. He noticed a little girl sitting with her mother near the edge of the garden. The girl looked sad, holding a broken flower pot. Her mother spoke gently, but the child didn't smile. Alex walked over, knelt beside them, and picked up the pot. "Mind if I try something?" he asked. The mother nodded. With a bit of glue and steady hands, Alex fixed the broken edges. He even added a tiny painted flower along the seam. The girl looked at it, eyes wide, then smiled. "Thank you," she whispered. Alex smiled back. Sometimes broken things come back stronger. As he walked away, something changed in him. He realized that staying connected didn't always mean hearing back right away. It meant continuing. To care, continuing to try. That was humanity's strength and not just building machines, but building hope. That night, Alex gathered his friends again. He told them he wanted to send something different this time. Not a message or a story, but something simpler, quiet piece of Earth. They worked together to make a digital memory capsule. Inside, they included short videos, kids playing in the garden, the sound of birds at dawn, the wind moving through the oak tree, the soft rain falling on glass. It was the feeling of home, captured in sights and sounds. Alex added one final message at the end. His voice was soft and steady. Mia, I know it's been a while, and that's okay. I just want you to feel a little piece of home, wherever. You are, no pressure to reply. Just know that I'm still here. We all are, and we always will be. We sent it that night, standing under the stars again. This time, he didn't wait beside the device. He simply smiled, then walked down to his room and went to sleep. 3 days later, while working in the greenhouse, his transmitter blinked. A message had arrived. With shaking hands, Alex opened it. Mia's voice came through, clear, warm, and full of emotion. Alex, I watched everything. I closed my eyes and felt like I was home again. I heard the rain. I saw the tree. I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I knew I wasn't alone. She paused, then added, It's been hard here. Lots of work. Sometimes too much. But every time I felt tired, I remembered you. Your stories, your quiet strength, you've kept me going. Alex smiled, eyes filled with tears. She continued, Even when I couldn't reply, I never stopped listening. I never stopped caring. That night, Alex stood beneath the stars. Once more, hands in his pockets, wind brushing his face. He looked up at the sky and whispered, We did it. He knew the silence would come again someday. Life was like that. But now he understood something deeper. Connection wasn't just about replies. It was about love that didn't stop, effort that didn't end, hope that stayed strong no matter how far apart they were. That was humanity. That was HFY. And in the quiet night with stars above, Alex felt closer to Mia than ever.